Welcome back to Asean Newsroom, and here are the economic news. French Finance Minister Christine Lagarde has been named as the first woman to become the new leader of the skyrocketing International Monetary Fund, or IMF. The new IMF chief, Lagarde, replaced Dominique Strauss-Kahn, who resigned last month as managing director after being charged with sexually assaulting a New York City hotel housekeeper. Lagarde was opposed by Agustin Carstens, a Mexican central banker whose candidacy never caught fire, even among developing countries. However, she fought off Agustin for the job. She has broader support in Europe, where she has spearheaded the region's battle against a vicious and stubborn debt crisis. She has also won support from China and Russia, according to reports in Beijing and the ITAR task news agencies in Moscow. Lagarde is said to have backing from America and Europe and key emerging market nations, including China, India, and Brazil. According to the IMF statements, its 24-member board regarded both candidates as highly suitable for the job, but had decided on Lagarde by consensus. The new MD expressed that once the results were in, she was honored and delighted that the board has entrusted her with the position of the MD of the IMF, Lagarde said via Twitter minutes after the announcement.
Well, the incoming president of the PTT PLC will hold a news conference this morning to clarify over the PTT's national gas pipeline leak. Dr. Chairin Shushot Thawon, who will succeed Prasert Bunsampan, the current president, in September this year, will give details on the latest finding of the natural gas pipeline leak at 9 a.m. today. While Chairin is now serving as chairman of the upstream petrochemicals and natural gas business division of the PTT. Transmission of the natural gas from the first pipeline of the PTT has been disrupted since Saturday when a leak happened at a spot about 325 kilometers off Rayong coast. The first pipeline normally has a capacity to transmit 850 million cubic feet per day of natural gas. The PTT officials have found out that the leak occurred at a point connecting the first natural gas pipeline with a smaller pipeline from the Platong natural gas reserves. The first natural gas pipeline, acting like a superhighway, is linked with smaller pipelines from Platong, Funan, and Erawan. PTT officials have yet to confirm when they can repair the leak and resume the operation of the first natural gas pipeline, which feeds natural gas to the Electricity Generating Authority of Thailand, the PTT's gas separation plant, and other independent power producers in the eastern seaboard.
German and Chinese leaders pledged a big increase in trade between the two largest economies in Europe and Asia on Tuesday, while China's premier underlined his support for the Eurozone amid its debt crisis. After a meeting in Berlin with Chinese Premier Wen Jiabao, dominated by economic issues, German Chancellor Angela Merkel also pressed for transparent handling of the case of recently released Chinese artist Ai Weiwei, a prominent critic of the Chinese government who was arrested on charges of tax evasion. Merkel welcomed Wen and a number of Chinese ministers to the German capital, a reception that she said opened a new chapter in relations and underlined Germany's hopes of deepening political and economic ties with first rising China. Merkel said Germany and China want to increase their annual bilateral trade volume to 200 billion euros, or about $284 billion by 2015. When voiced hopes that the countries could even double their trade volume over 5 years, trade between China and Germany totaled just over 130 billion euro last year, which is a 38.5% increase when compared with 2009. China was the seventh greatest buyer of German exports at 53.6 billion euros, while it led the list of importers to Germany, which bought Chinese goods and services worth of 76.5 billion euros. Wen said China was prepared to buy more high-quality German goods, but he also called for Berlin to quickly grant it formal recognition as a full market economy to help remove obstacles to trade and urged Germany to seek a loosening of EU restrictions on technology exports. German officials say there was no contradiction between pursuing trade interests in China and also raising concerns about the country's human rights record.
Money funds in the U.S. are apparently unfazed by Greek crisis. The European debt crisis would pose a threat to U.S. money market mutual funds if a rash of sovereign defaults, causing big banks to fail to meet obligations within the next 3 months. It would take a very rapid decline, and not just in the smaller European countries, for the debt crisis to threaten U.S. money funds. George Gus Sauter, Chief Investment Officer at Vanguard Group, said, "You would probably have to see Spain and Italy get into difficult shape." Greek lawmakers are scheduled to vote this week on a 5-year austerity plan for the cash-strapped nation to secure more international aid and avoid the euro area's first sovereign default. Money funds could be hurt by a default because they have lent to European banks that in turn have lent to Greece and other heavily indebted European countries. The eligible U.S. money funds to buy corporate debt had about $800 billion or half the assets as of May 31st in securities issued by European banks, Fitch Ratings estimated. European lenders held more than $2 trillion at year-end in loans to Greece, Portugal, Ireland, Spain, and Italy, the most indebted European countries, the Bank of International Settlements estimated. It's not about whether Greece defaults, it's what happens after that. And there's uncertainty behind that, Alex Rover, head of short-term fixed income strategy of J.P. Morgan Chase & Corporation in New York, said. Sony Corporation's online services will be a main source of growth for the company, even after the PlayStation network has been crippled by hacker attacks. Chief Executive Officer Howard Stringer said. Sony will also focus on networked devices and services, 3D products, and emerging markets, Stringer said at the company's shareholders meeting today in Tokyo, where the electronics maker is based. Stringer said Sony will strengthen network security and seek to regain customer trust after hackers forced the company to shut down its online entertainment services in April, a month after Japan's strongest earthquake damaged the company's factories. As many as 90% of PlayStation Network users have come back since services were restored, he said. Sony fully resumed the PlayStation Network service and its Curiosity Entertainment Network in the US and Europe earlier this month after suspending it for more than 5 weeks. The company said it improved security after the intrusion, in which data on more than 100 million accounts was compromised. Sony increased the number of firewalls between servers and added software to monitor intrusions and system vulnerabilities before restarting the services, according to the company.
Patra Securities Managing Director Supawut Saichus warned of host of risk factors to Thai economy during second half of the year. A series of key developments over the remainder of the year pose potential risks to the Thai economy, according to Supawut. Factors to watch in the second half will be the handling of the U.S. government debt situation, U.S. monetary policy, the risk of a delayed recovery in Japan, the public debt crisis in the Eurozone, a rise in bad loans in China, and the aftermath of the Thai elections, Supawut said at yesterday's Institute of Directors luncheon's briefing titled "Will the Global Economy Stumble or Slow Down? And What Will That Mean for Thailand?" He said some investors have slightly underweight and some have stayed neutral on the local stock market. He added Patra forecasts Thai economic growth of 3.8% this year, while the market consensus is about 4%. Supawut expressed pessimism about the global economic outlook, any slowing of which would adversely affect Thai exports. He said that at the beginning of the year, the market was optimistic about the global economy, but it had grown concerned over the past 2 months about a weakening of the U.S. economy and the public debt crisis in Europe.
Construction of the 5.3-kilometer-long Taksin Phetsakasem Skytrain extension, in which the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration invested some 7.5 million baht, will be ready for service on December 5, 2012. BMA Governor M.R. Sukhumpan Boripat and city executives yesterday inspected the Ponimit station construction site. He said that the extension linking the Skytrain system to the heart of Thonburi comprised 4 stations: Ponimit, Rachada Pisek Ratchapruk, Wuthakad, and Bangwa. The extension will connect with the bus rapid transit at Ratchapruk station, the subway's Blue Line extension, and the Klong Pasi Jaran transport boat system at the Bangwa station, he said. This route already has a parking lot for Skytrain users at the Wong Vien Yai station, he said. The extension will also have a parking lot at the Ratchapruk station, where a skywalk elevated pedestrians way would be built to link to the Rachada Pisek Ratchapruk road.
Let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have a look at Around Asia by Asian News Network.